Hello there my darlings, and welcome back to another little episode of Love Warframes. And today, as you can see on the screen, we're looking at Khora's Pseudo Exalted weapon. If you didn't know, they changed a few things regarding, I think it was 3 other Warframes Pseudo Exalted weapons as well, back on the 19th of March update, so we're going to get into them in separate episodes, but today we're focusing on the sexy Khora. And in the meantime, if this video or any of my many other videos tickles your fancy, could you tickle my like, comment and or sub button, and I'll be eternally grateful. But in the meantime, let's get into the sexy little minx that is Khora. So what's the difference between an exalted weapon and a pseudo exalted weapon? Well, not much anymore, but originally they had exalted weapons. Now these were weapons that were summoned as an ability. For Excalibur, his exalted blade, you had Ivara's Artemis bow, Mez's Regulators, and Titania's Dex Pixiono Dewata, Wukong's Iron Staff, and Valkyr's Talons. Now, all of those things are separately moddable in your arsenal. They were clearly a weapon that you summoned. With these pseudo-exalted weapons, it wasn't really a weapon that you summoned per se, but it was a kind of weapon that was like almost like a one-time use ability. And what was happening is the equivalent weapon that you took with you, i.e. your melee, for example, for Khora. This is why they called it a stat stick build. Whatever you modded your melee weapon as would impact that ability. And not many people really understood that or knew that and didn't understand like how to mod their melee to make the Warframe ability work. And those that did were quids in and were doing a lot of damage, and those that weren't were kind of looking at the Warframe like, well, I don't really understand it. And I like Khora. She is a good loot goblin. She is on the Warframe website described as a crowd control and damage Warframe, which she is. The accumulating Whipclaw augment mod like proves that. Now my confusion used to be that I as soon as I heard that you had to mod your melee to make her ability work, I was like, I'm not really a melee player, and it kind of just put me off. So I did use Khora as a pilfering Strangledome loot goblin now and again, but I didn't understand the value of her. But I kind of do, and I kind of still don't, because I believe there are other amazing Warframes for we're thinking longevity on Steel Path missions here. This is what some of the builds you're going to see have been working towards, and now we can mod her Whipclaw ability separately. So it is a form of exalted weapon now. They are still not identical to the original exalted weapons though. That's what the devs are saying on their workshop notes, which we'll just have a quick little chat about now. So while we watch Khora do an incursion defense by herself, there we go, because she can. I did struggle on Steel Path with her. I'm still struggling. I'm trying out the builds. I'm trying to make it work. I feel like I need to work on the weaponry with her. So if you've got any advice, we'll talk about that in a minute. But while we're doing that, I just want to talk to you briefly about what the devs put on their workshop about these exalted weapons. So they're not identical to actual exalted weapons. Now they all have, ability to put arcanes and their own mods in, and that's great. But it's more to do with the dynamic now. So what confused me is that previously you had to be an expert on modding your melee to get Whipclaw to work well. And that I didn't like that. I didn't understand it, so I never really bothered with it. But now I don't think you have to worry about that at all. They've taken that relationship away and given Whipclaw its own set of mods to think about. So ergo, I don't think Whipclaw or your melee impact each other anymore. So what they're saying is the new exalted weapon is called Whipclaw, as we've just seen. And it comes with a pre-installed Orokin Catalyst, so you get double up mod slots already. And you get 1 Magirite and 1 Vazarin polarity. Now, unfortunately, to balance everything out because of the new combo system they've put in place, they've reduced the base damage on pretty much all of these new exalted abilities, stroke weapons, from 300 to 150 for Khora's Whipclaw. Unlike traditional exalted melee weapons like Excalibur's blade, Whipclaw uses the same combo counter as Atlas's landslide. So they've actually used Atlas as the template to make a new combo counter ability situation for Khora, Gara and Ashe as well. And we're going to look at those after Khora in separate episodes, because it's a lot to take in, and I'm still educating myself as we go as well. And I know there's going to be someone in the comments that can educate us a bit further and just be kind and helpful. I'm trying to get my head around it, and I'm trying to highlight it to people that might not be aware of it. That's all. I'm not the expert. full disclosure, I'm reading from the dev workshop. I'm trying to make sense of it myself. So the new ability combo counter, again, based on Atlas's existing combo mechanic. So recasting their respective abilities within 5 seconds of the previous cast grants you a 20 combo point thingamajigger, which will increase the combo multiplier by 1 each time. So I don't understand this, because as you can see, if I now Whipclaw my Strangle Dome, it's going up 2 times, 3 times. Oh, it is going up by 1 each time. Do you know, I thought it was going up 2, 4, 6 before in the Simulacrum, but maybe it wasn't. And I believe that'll go all the way up to 12 now. So instead of capping at 4, it now caps at 12. This aligns with the melee combo counter, meaning subsequent casts can be buffed up 12 times the damage. So by increasing your ability combo counter, your exalted weapon will receive increased damage based on the ability combo multiplier. So this is just how many times you pop that ability, like they said, within 5 seconds. You know, you can see the little timer counting down, it disappears. So ability damage now scales 1 to 1 with this new ability combo counter, instead of the 0.25 times the melee combo multiplier when they were pseudo exalted weapons, i.e., you know, how you modded your actual melee weapon. As a result, they've reduced that base damage, as we just saw, to Shatterlash, which is Khara's now exalted ability, and Whipclaw to balance with the ability to scale higher with the new combo system. So they understand that. I think they're making it more powerful. I think that's what they're doing. And they just had to balance it out so it wasn't like stupid high. Now, I still can't quite get my head around it and make it all powerful and all singing and all dancing, but we'll get there. So these balance adjustments increase the overall damage output when combined with the new combo changes, and mods like Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, and Body Count, as well as focus abilities like Naraman's Power Spike, now work within this system. So basically before, all those extra goodies were not impacting or working with your pseudo exalted weapon. And as you can see, these numbers are getting bigger and bigger when we're whip-clawing our Strangle Dome. So I got quite excited because I was like, oh, no, this is good. If you can get Khora to survive on Steel Path, which Ninja say on Overframe has a good, you know, a long kind of, he wants her to survive. You don't have very high ability strength, but the Strangle Dome is there really to hold the enemies off you while you deal with them. This is where I need probably a better weapon for. I've got my Latum and Tenet Glaxian to slow everything down, get the headshots, and then muller everything, and it was kind of working okay, but there are a few hairy moments. Now, the thing with Khora that is really good for Steel Path and survivability is her Venari ability. So obviously she's got her Venari companion, and that's your third ability with 3 subcategories like protect, attack, and heal. And you can actually get your Venari Pussycat to heal these defense targets, I believe. I just haven't worked out how to get it to actually work. So I think you had to waypoint. I think, I don't know, tell me how to make it work. I was like, what? Venari can actually heal targets? What the hell? As well as healing you. We've got the augment mod, so the Venari will die in your place, which is great for Steel Path if you die. And the Venari augment will kick in. And you've got your Pilfering Strangle Dome augment mod, which drops more loot, and the Whipclaw augment mod, which basically scales damage for your Whipclaw as well. I kind of like it, but at the same time I feel a bit like miserly about the fact you have to put 3 augment mods in to make her useful on Steel Path, whereas there are other Warframes, you know what I mean, that might be less faff. Now, I do like Khora. I've got a lot of time for Khora. A, she's fucking beautiful, and B, this scaling damage interests me, and the fact that she's a loot goblin Warframe interests me a lot. And I've used Khora many times in the past, but I haven't really ever truly understood this relationship between the melee modding and her Whipclaw. So I'm actually really happy now that you can mod Whipclaw separately. It's a very clear thing in my head now. Now I just need to know how to mod it correctly. Now, when I went on to Overframe to guide myself, there were so many just generic Whipclaw builds, and they were all using a very similar set of mods, so there was nothing specific. So I'm going to show you these builds now. I'll show you the what we just talked about, the combo ability counter, more clearly in the Simulacrum, and then really I want you to tell me, like, what do you think of it? And then if you are interested, I will do an Atlas video about his exalted weapon. I will do Khора's exalted weapon, and I will look more in depth in Ash, because I never really used Ash, and they've just reworked him as well, and apparently he is just stupid bonkers brilliant now. And my Discordians were talking about it and they were like, yeah, well, Coffee hasn't done an Ash video there, we've had to go elsewhere and find builds elsewhere. So I was like, oh no, I need to work on an Ash build. So right, let's have a look at the builds I was using off Overframe. And so this was one of the builds I found by Chris W on Overframe, and he describes this as a solo SP interception, defense, excavation, survival and resource farming build. And he did update this around the time of the update, so he's fully aware of the Whipclaw updates. And the Whipclaw, like I said, it's like generic mods that they're using in them. So this is an okay build. I kind of almost preferred this one over Ninjase's, because Ninjase's is more of like a glass cannon vibe. They're both very low in strength, but it's all to do with that Strangle Dome and the accumulating Whipclaw. And I'm going to go ahead and say the arcanes are really important. I don't have Arcane Fury fully completed yet, which is in Ninjase's build that we're about to see. So I've used this one. Feel free to have a go with it. Doesn't have the Venari. So Chris W actually put Protea's Dispensary on Venari's ability, which is the third ability. I put Hildren's Pillage because for some reason, even though I have Helmets the Protea on my other account and merged this one, it didn't count for some reason. It hasn't counted my Helmets Warframes in some instances, so I've had to helmet another Protea. Don't worry about it, I had 3. I was very greedy, I love Protea. Anyway, so as you can see, I've just gone over to Ninjase's build and I was missing the Venari Bodyguard Augment mod, which he's put into his. Now, let's have a look at Ninjase's build a little more closely. So while I just fuse up the Venari Bodyguard Augment, this is the rest of the mods in his build. And as you can see, my Arcane Fury is nowhere near complete. I need some more of those. But he describes this as Thunderdome Khora, Steel Path Endurance, Survival and Looting. And you have infinite scaling survivability via extreme crowd control from your Strangle Dome. Ensnare, which is from your Venari. He hasn't helmeted anything off her. As well as shield gating using the combo of Reef, Respite, your Aura mod. Augur mods, catalyzing shields and Venari Bodyguard is a further optional backup plan that negates death. He goes into a lot of detail. Ninjase's builds are really interesting. However, I struggled with this build just because I'm not very good at shield gating and the glass cannon thing. I know that she doesn't deal like a huge amount of damage at the beginning. It scales, but I mean, I died on Steel Path with this build. Or was it Chris W's? I can't remember because they're not too dissimilar. The range on Chris is higher, but the survivability fell. I don't know. I feel like I still need to work on this build, but I just wanted to show you the mods in case you were interested in using them for yourself. So obviously we're going to look at Venari really quickly. So whether you Helminth Venari offers the ability or not, Venari will always remain and still do their thing, and you know, you can mod them separately to their claws as well now. That's a new thing, by the way, for pets, modding their claws as a weapon separately. So Venari, basically, if you Helminth off, you only remove the ability to mark targets for Venari, and that's like to attack. And you can attack enemies, but with her heal, you can heal allies if you mark them up for her, and also you can, I think, regenerate defense targets, but I don't know if I got it to work if you mark them up, which I kind of did, but then I don't know if you've got to pop the Venari ability again, then I'm not sure. I haven't made it work properly. But if you remove the ability to helmet something on that third, like the pillage that I've got here from Hildren, you won't be able to use the augment mod for it. So you won't be able to put Venari Bodyguard in because that ability is no longer there, even though it's kind of a passive ability. That's how the game works, unfortunately. Venari Bodyguard, basically, Venari will die in your place. So when on Steel Path, to stop yourself dying and going down, Venari will die for you and respawn eventually. And if you kill enemies, it speeds up the respawn time, etc. So that was the Venari mods. Don't know if you were watching. They were kind of generic as well when I was looking around, and someone suggested taking I think it was a Panzerwolper filler that you can get from Deimos because of some of the excellent side effects that taking these companions have. But you can take another companion even though you've got Venari with you, so the companion of your choice. I'm still trying to figure out the best one. Again, I've got pretty much all the companions: robotic, pets, Cavats, Kubros, these mutated ones from Deimos. There's so many to choose from. Mowers. I mean, oh my goodness. The list is endless. If anybody's got the perfect second companion, let us know in the comments or come to the Discord. Give us a heads up. So I don't know if you saw, I did show you the Whipclaw build. Like I said, they were generic, as in everybody seemed to be using the same mods for that. Not that it was a generic rubbish build, but I'm sure it's not. But I seem to see the same mods over and over for all the different builds I clicked on. Anyway, this is Chris W's build I think I'm using in the Simulacrum. This is Steel Path modified Simulacrum. So Sanctum Anatomica Simulacrum, you can get it from the Sanctum Anatomica when you rank up and buy it for standing. And you can get really, really high level enemies here once you ranked up your mastery rank. To do your testings on your builds and things. And Simulacrum can be a bit buggy. It's not always true to actual gaming, and obviously it just behaves ever so slightly different. It feels different to an actual mission sometimes, but it's a really good place to start to get a baseline of where you're at. And this is where I came to test this Strangledome and Whipclaw and the accumulating Whipclaw damage and this new ability combo multiplier, which you'll see on the screen where it says 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. That's us popping Whipclaw, and you'll see the numbers. If you focus on the yellow ones, they're getting bigger and bigger if I keep popping it. And it depends on the enemies, obviously, as well, and the damage you're doing to them. I still don't quite understand the relationship between all of it, but I can see it working. I don't need pilfering Strangledome on my Strangledome. I've got all the loot, so I could switch that out for something else and have a little tweak and a play with other mods and try and get maybe even the ability strength up, because this is like 40% ability strength. So can you imagine if you could do all of this plus increase your ability strength? It's really tempting, you know, it's really, really freaking tempting. But you would have to be an absolute glass cannon then and have very, you know, very low survivability. I don't know, I don't suggest. So in the comments, my darlings, please feel free to advise us. And I just want to say thank you to my YouTube Fearless and Wolf Barbarians. These are my members who've paid their real life money to watch my videos earlier, and a lot of them on the Discord, and they just lend endless support, and I can't continue this channel and all my videos without support and viewers. So that being said, you know, if you like what you see, and by the way, I don't just play Warframe, I play all sorts of games over here, feel free to join the Discord, come and say hi. Come and talk to us about the gamings or the Warframes, and again, you're more than welcome to come for some help as well. There's usually someone lurking around, usually someone happy to go and do some grinding in some area of the game, some obscure area, and if there's anything you'd like to see in a video, a Warframe guide, whatever, let me know. I'm open to ideas, my darlings, but in the meantime, I'm going to pass myself over to myself, and I would love to know what you think of Khora and her new exalted situation. And yeah, we'll revisit the other ones shortly. And there you have it, my darlings, the Pseudo Exalted weapon coming good there. A couple of different builds, wasn't really sure on it, but you know, working on it and kind of refining my knowledge about this game while I go over all this stuff is mwah, chef's kiss. In the meantime, I just want to thank you so much for joining me. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, no matter what it may be. But in the meantime, you take care now and goodbye.